What impact will the assembly election verdict have on national politics? What will be the consequence for both brand Modi as well as brand Rahul Gandhi? And is this very clearly now a direct personality clash between the two leaders on the national stage? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. Our focus today is on, of course, the elections in Haryana, but it is also asking the larger political questions that emerge from the possible result of this election. One that is being called the first litmus test for both Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi after the 2024 election verdict, a verdict that took the BJP below the majority mark. And for the first time for Narendra Modi since he came on national politics, the national stage, has made him dependent on allies. Of course, there is also the backdrop of what has been happening between the BJP and the RSS. In multiple different references, Mohan Bhagwat seemed to take a swipe at the Prime Minister in his speeches. Meanwhile, the Congress has challenges of its own. It is faced with infighting, it is faced with managing two strong camps, the Bhupinder Huda led camp as well as the Kumari Selja camp. It has not declared a chief ministerial candidate. To talk about this and the political questions that arise from it, we are joined by our guest today. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay is with us. He's the biographer of a book, or biographer of Prime Minister Modi, as well as the author of several other books. He's, of course, a veteran journalist. It's good to see you, Nilanjan Da. And let's start by asking you, how important is Haryana and the first in a series of assembly elections to take place later this year? There's Jammu and Kashmir also, but the reason I'm not bringing it up is because that's a whole different conversation. How important is it for national politics, for what might happen within the BJP, for what a defeat or a win might do to the relationship between the BJP and the RSS?
First of all, Varkha, thank you very much for getting me on your show. It's always a great pleasure to speak with you. Uh, Haryana is the first first assembly election after the Lok Sabha election, where the BJP lost 20% of the seats it held in the previous Lok Sabha.
Hmm.
So obviously, this is the first occasion for it to say that it is beginning to stage a recovery or a comeback. So the result is going to be looked at that. Has that happened? Has the BJP been able to retain power in Haryana? And whether it has been able to improve on its position in 2019, where it was not able to form a government on its own, but it had to actually take the help of an ally, which is no longer with it at the moment. That is the JJP. The Lok Sabha elections was, held in the backdrop of a very fraught relationship with the RSS. Right from February onwards, when after a month after the Ram Temple, just a matter of coincidence that the visual has been flashed from the Ram Temple, consecration. So that was, inaugurated. Thereafter, about a month after, the Ram narrative started petering out, and people started talking about more economic issues related to their bread and butter, jobs. Those started becoming an important issue. By the From April onward, we had started seeing that Mr. Modi is also feeling the heat, and that is why he actually pressed on the accelerator where he controls the communal temperature in the country. He started saying that the Congress is going to take away the wealth of the poor, going to distribute it to the Muslims. All those speeches which he gave, which actually indicated a return to the Modi of the old time, the Hindu Hriday Samrat. Sometime around that time, there was this very peculiar, and really speaking, I would say that uncalled for comment from Mr. J.P. Nadda, that we have now become competent and we really do not need the support of the RSS. Now, at a time when the RSS was already visibly not participating with the kind of enthusiasm which was there in 2014 and 19, it was definitely very awkward. It was like, tit for tat. If you are also going to be playing difficult, I am also going to give it back to you, that kind of shove. It really does not work. The RSS justified that we have changed our style of campaigning. Instead of continuing with the door-to-door campaigning, which they are, said to be that is their expertise, They said that they are holding more private indoor meetings with various voters and thereby conveying the message, which really speaking did not really impress many of the people who had been following the RSS, because neither were the meetings happening and neither were nor were the RSS pracharaks coming to the homes of people to campaign for BJP candidates. Relations have not been very good with the RSS even after the verdict came out. Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, at least on 4 occasions, he made certain statements, where he did not name Mr. Modi, but that apart, there was nothing that was left to doubt as to who he was speaking about. He was talking about people who want to become God, the qualities of a true sevak, etc., etc. That is the kind of thing, that elections is not a war. It is actually, more a kind of contestation. The opposition is also to be given respect. It appeared that there was something fundamentally wrong between the RSS and Mr. Modi personally. There has been some kind of a patching up in the course of the assembly elections. We have seen slightly more harmonious relations, but I think that it is too early for us to say that the issues which came up have been sorted out. They have not been sorted out. We also have to understand that the issue was not between the RSS and the BJP. It was essentially between the RSS leadership and Mr. Modi and his working style, essentially. So that problem has not really been solved because Mr. Modi has not changed his working style. He has not yet set up a mechanism of dialogue within the coalition at the moment. The One Nation, One Election was the first real instance where, prior to a decision being taken, the cabinet meeting was called and they discussed something and they said that we have accepted this in principle. And now it is a question of setting up a committee to go about implementing it. It was not done in the case of lateral entry, it was not done in the various other cases, including the Waqf bill, a very ideologically contentious issue. So Mr. Modi has really not come to terms with how to function within a coalition. He also has not been able to come to terms with the fact that how does he relate with the RSS, not from a position of dominance, but in a situation where they are both equivalent to each other.
But if nothing has changed fundamentally, then what explains the patch up that you refer to for the purpose of these elections?
No, I think the RSS is also a pragmatic organization. It does not really want to upset the apple cart, and that it has a centenary year coming up in another week. It's going to be the Dussehra. That's going to begin the countdown to the next Dussehra, when the RSS will formally complete 100 years. Being in power has its advantages. Anybody in Delhi can just go up to the new RSS headquarters in Delhi to understand that what power has done to the RSS to be, so those are the benefits of being in power. But the point is that it does not want to be seen as somebody who is going to be absolutely subservient to Mr. Modi and whatever whims and fancy he has about. So it wants to, give some kind of a checks and balances on Mr. Modi while not deserting the BJP completely.
Now, the other thing that may actually keep the BJP and the RSS close, or rather Modi and the RSS on the same side, and force them to diminish their points of friction, is how Rahul Gandhi is casting and continues to cast this battle as an ideological battle.
That's right.
So for a time, you had the opposition being very defensive on the issues of Hinduism. That hasn't gone away totally, but now the opposition is playing a sort of social justice card to counter the Hindutva card. And Rahul Gandhi is on multiple occasions daring the RSS and making his fight a statedly ideological one. So I'm going to play a clip of Rahul Gandhi from the campaign trail in Haryana, so we can talk a little bit about this, that when Rahul Gandhi casts the battle not as one of personality, but also one of ideology, does that actually push Modi and the RSS closer together? Take a look.
और हमारे जो कार्यकर्ता हैं, शेर हैं, टाइगर हैं, 24 घंटा आप लगे रहते हो, लाठी खाते हो. मैं जानता हूं, कुछ भी हो जाए, कांग्रेस पार्टी का जो कार्यकर्ता है, ये आरएसएस वाले लोग बहुत लंबी लंबी बातें करते हैं, इनके कार्यकर्ताओं में दम नहीं है. इनके कार्यकर्ताओं में दम नहीं है। कांग्रेस पार्टी के सामने ये नहीं खड़े हो सकते, भाग जाते हैं। आप देखो, आपने देखा होगा, हवा में नहीं बोल रहा मैं, आपने देखा होगा नरेंद्र मोदी जी आए, पहले कहते थे 56 इंच की छाती है, याद है? अब भैया मेरा भाषण होता है पार्लियामेंट में, भाग जाते हैं वहां से। मैं आपको बताऊं, मैं भाषण देने आता हूं, नरेंद्र मोदी उठ के निकल जाते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि कांग्रेस की विचारधारा जो है, जिसको मैं मोहब्बत की दुकान कहता हूं, हमें नफरत की जरूरत नहीं है। हमारे घरों में, हमारे दिल में नफरत है ही नहीं।
Okay, so, the question I want to ask you is this. Let's also explore what's changed after the 2024 verdict. Earlier, the BJP would have been quite happy to have a Modi versus Rahul fault line. It suited the BJP, it didn't suit the opposition. Now, more and more, we are seeing this battle play out at two different levels: a clash of personalities, Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi, and a clash of ideologies as per Rahul Gandhi again and again and again. That is how he is approaching it. Is that actually going to bring Mr. Modi and Mohan Bhagwat closer? Because no, the RSS isn't going to enjoy this kind of ideological dare from Rahul Gandhi, as he just mentioned in his speech, कि हमारे कार्यकर्ता तो RSS कार्यकर्ता के सामने, मतलब the RSS कार्यकर्ता हमारे कार्यकर्ता के सामने कुछ नहीं है.
No, I know there are a large number of people within the Congress. There have been some people that I have spoken with, at an informal level, and also, anecdotal information from other people, that there are many who feel that possibly tactically it would be better for Rahul Gandhi at this stage not to name the RSS in his speeches and attack it also.
Yeah.
But then the point is, we have to go back to the time when Rahul Gandhi decided to make his battle against the BJP and the Sangh Parivar into a more ideological battle than what it had been in the years prior to 2022, when he took out the Bharat Jodo Yatra and started and traveled. So he does not want to abandon that. He also is possibly thinking, it is his calculation that beyond a certain point, the RSS and even Mr. Mohan Bhagwat personally is not going to, really spoil the relationships with Mr. Modi and actually marginalize him so much, that the house started collapsing. That wouldn't really happen. So that is why he's actually continuing and, attacking the RSS more, directly than what many would actually think it is.
Do you think it's a tactical mistake? Because at a time when the entire speculation is a certain degree of friction, Mr. Mohan Bhagwat has been sniping at Mr. Modi in public. When you sort of name the RSS in your speech, is Rahul Gandhi making that tactical error? Do you think it's a tactical error?
If I was speaking on Rahul Gandhi's behalf, then possibly I'll not name the RSS the way he's been doing it, at least in this little clip and whatever little I heard about. You can talk about ideological issues. You can attack Hindutva. You can talk about the various programs which are being done, whether by Yogi Adityanath, the entire politics of signboards which is being introduced, the Waqf bill, which has been brought.
Look at what happened with the names on eateries. You actually had a prominent Himachal Congress leader, Vikramaditya Singh, wanting to ape Yogi Adityanath. The Congress got ferocious backlash on social media for 24 hours before he was summoned and told, take this back. So, the fact is that the Congress is also not one ideological, cohesive, smooth little ship. People are also playing their own games there.
No, certainly. The point is that Rahul Gandhi has to understand that before 2022, when he became absolutely clear that he's no longer going to be brandishing his Gotra or his Hinduness, but then, there has been a certain amount of support which has been collected for the Hindutva idea from all kinds of ideological quarters, including those who have a long background in the Congress. Vikramaditya Singh Pratibha Singh have long, a track record within the Congress. Veerbhadra Singh was in the Congress and the Chief Minister for several decades. So they're very old association with the Congress. Even Rahul Gandhi, the point is that I think he has to be a bit more clear in trying to differentiate between the religious Rahul Gandhi and the ideological Rahul Gandhi. I, for one, really did not understand that what was the benefit of displaying the picture of Lord Shiva in Parliament. Was it really needed? He does not need to provide self-certification of being a good Hindu. That is the same thing
Yeah.
which was being done, in 2017 onwards during the Gujarat, elections in 2017 when he said, Janeu wearing Hindu,
Brahmin.
the
Janeveru
Brahmin
Brahmin. Hmm.
wearing Brahmin, and also his Gotra, and all that needn't have been said at that point. So keep his battle ideological and let us not only take names all the time. Be more theoretical, be more abstract. What the
Now,
RSS quite.
yeah, I have a yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but I have a kind of ironic question. If Haryana were to go the Congress way, and it looks like there's a plausible chance of that, the Congress took 5 of the 10 Lok Sabha seats in the
That's right.
2024 elections. We've seen their vote share. Also, I think we have that banner. We can bring it up. We've seen their vote share also significantly climb from 28.51% in 2019 to nearly 44% in 2024. This is what's changed already between the two Lok Sabha elections. If the BJP were to lose Haryana, if the BJP were to lose Haryana, would it ironically make the RSS more powerful?
No, definitely. Elections are still being fought in the name of Mr. Modi. He still is their biggest electoral card. Even in the Haryana elections, the most important rallies are those of Mr. Modi and thereafter of Mr. Shah. The other BJP leaders who are important, who could be considered to be as possible replacements for Modi at some point of time, are the senior leaders, which include Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Nitin Gadkari and Rajnath Singh. They have campaigned, but maybe not as much as they would have been done if you are actually trying to underplay the presence of Mr. Modi as your electoral card. So if it
Yeah.
does not work, obviously it means that Mr. Modi ka jadoo ab nahi chal raha hai. So if it is not working, that's the way it is going to be argued. That he is no longer the unblemished vote catcher of the BJP. If that becomes, then obviously he is going to be diminished.
But even if Modi का जादू उस तरह से नहीं चल रहा जैसे चलता था, the counter question could be और किसका जादू है? You see, the 10-year term of Mr. Modi has also ensured that other leaders in the BJP who may have had a future at one point, they have been so in the margins, so in the shadows, that it's not that all of a sudden they can be put on the national stage as the face of the BJP. So while definitely Brand Modi will be confronted with questions about the diminishing jadoo, he still remains their most dominant, most sort of vote, their biggest vote catcher, as of now at least.
No, the jadoo nahi chal raha is going to be vis-a-vis the opposition, that the opposition is now able to win. So soon
Yeah.
after the Lok Sabha election, so soon after the dismal performance of the BJP in Uttar Pradesh, you have a dismal performance in Haryana also, where in any case, in Haryana during the Lok Sabha elections, it was 50-50 division. So the same kind of division has continued. This time it has become 60-40 or 65-35 or whatever it is. If what you are saying that the BJP does not do well and the Congress is actually able to secure a majority and form the government.
Yeah.
Within the BJP, the choice is not of Mr. Modi versus another. It's not a presidential contest within the BJP. Within the BJP, what Mr. Mohan Bhagwat is trying to say is the implicit message is that there is need in the BJP to rediscover its collegial style of functioning. What was the style of functioning even when the two stalwarts, Atal Bihari
Yeah.
Vajpayee and Lal Krishna Advani, and even Murli Manohar Joshi, may not be the same stature, but he was also much above the other. So these three, the Trimurti of the BJP, ruled for about, they were at the top leadership for about 15-20 years. right from the mid 1980s onwards till 2004, till the time of their defeat in 2004. So those 20 years, at no point was there one dominating leader except Mr. Advani during the period between 1990 and 92 till the time of the demolition. At
Yeah.
that point, it was the most dominating leadership. But thereafter, they realized that they have to go with a much more
So,
broader.
so, 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 in fact, to the exact point that you're making, one of our audience members says, Charanjit Singh, has Modi made the same mistake that Indira Gandhi made post the death of Sanjay Gandhi? I mean, she discovered that it was a mistake. She hadn't groomed any successors. Now, we don't know that Mr. Modi cares about who after Modi, but the BJP should care about it. The RSS should care about it.
No, the RSS is definitely worried. That is why it is making these, whatever Mr. Bhagwat has been saying after the Lok Sabha elections. Mr. Modi is in some ways, he is in the political mold of PV Narasimha Rao. I remember, when PV Narasimha Rao was the chief minister, was the prime minister, we journalists used to say at the time when the Congress started declining from sometime around 94, 95, after the Jharkhand bribery case started happening in the Congress, began on a decline. That is also the time when the deliberations over the World Trade Organization started. All kinds of workers' movements started within the country. So we would say that Narasimha Rao does not look beyond his tenure. And that is what happened to the Congress. 96 elections, the Congress did not perform well. That was the end of the Congress for 10 years, and it was the end of Mr. Narasimha Rao also forever, in terms of being a political leader of any significance.
Yeah.
Likewise, Mr. Modi is looking only at his tenure. At the moment, I would say that he is looking only at this present tenure of his. What happens to the BJP subsequent to that, I don't think that he's really given much thought to it. If he has, at least those symptoms are not available in terms of building alternate power structures within the party, not making everything so personalized within the party.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point, and I agree with you that Mr. Modi doesn't seem to be concerned beyond this term, his third term. But like you said, the RSS and the BJP, the rest of the party should be concerned. And what might they do to address that concern? Now, one of the challenges that the Prime Minister has is how to find a new story to tell, right? He's in his third term. A lot of his stories have been heard. They've been channeled into votes. They've been powerful when first heard, but they've all been used. And in this campaign trail also, you see, it's easier to be the antagonist than it is to be the protagonist, always in many ways. So I want to play out a clip of Narendra Modi from the campaign trail and then talk to you about whether that is the problem, that the BJP needs an old collegial style, but Mr. Modi perhaps needs a new story to tell. And what could that story be? I'll ask you that right after taking a look at this clip of the Prime Minister from the campaign trail.
कि कैसे यहां कांग्रेस में मुख्यमंत्री बनने के लिए मारामारी मची है। बापू भी दावेदार है और बेटा भी दावेदार है और दोनों मिलकर बाकियों को निपटा लेने लगे हैं। और ये सब देख करके हरियाणा के जागरूक नागरिक कांग्रेस को निपटाने में लग पड़े हैं। कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने तन मन धन से दिल्ली के शाही परिवार की सेवा की है। अब वो भी पूछ रहे हैं कि उनसे क्या गलती हुई। यहां कांग्रेस का हर गुट, हर सीट पर एक दूसरे को पटखनी देने में ही लगा हुआ है।
Now, Mr. Modi is, of course, referring to the Congress infighting. It's a valid political point between the Hooda camp and Kumari Selja. Kumari Selja has been keeping a very low profile. In fact, it was considered a big achievement that Rahul Gandhi was able to persuade them. Yeah. There you can see that in those pictures, to come on the same same stage. But in of itself, Mr. Modi's speeches have now continued to focus on the dynasty, Parivarvad, the Shahi Parivar, etc., etc., and there isn't a kind of new point of attack there. On the other side, you have Haryana, where Pehelwan Jawan Kisan, the restless protest, the farmers' protest, and the Agniveer issue, and the lack of employment driving otherwise Fauji families to even end up in the Russia-Ukraine war till the government had to somehow bring them back. The point here is Mr. Modi's real challenge that he needs another story. He needs a new story.
Yes, of course, he needs a new story. I'll just remind you of his 15th August speech this time and compare it with these, Independence Day speeches of 2019 and 2014. The first speeches after being elected in 2014 and after being re-elected in 2019. Both speeches had tremendous energy, new ideas. This time it was absolutely a flat and without any kind of dynamism. It had no ideas, what you were talking about. So Mr. Modi has been talking about Viksit Bharat for a long time. Right from 2022 onwards, he has been talking about Viksit Bharat and that we are now in the preparation to reach 2047. Now, people who are jobless at this particular time, who have not been or who have not been able to get back to earning ways after COVID, they definitely are not looking at 2047. For them, the most important period is that what is going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. In contrast, I would say, going back to Rahul Gandhi, small, actions and the small gestures, have really gone around to elevate the entire opposition campaign in a completely, make it much more emotional with the people. Going to the United States, he went and met those Agniveer, those people who have actually gone from Haryana, immigrated into US, and that entire melodramatic sequence, which was put on video and is there everywhere, the number it has got. It has really been a very great hit, and it shows a completely new dimension of the Congress leader and also the
Yeah,
party.
but can I ask you in the end? There's one risk. Okay, there are two risks. You've identified one. Could Rahul be making a tactical mistake in going on hammer and talk with the RSS? But the bigger risk is to make cast your main plank, which clearly Rahul Gandhi has decided to make social justice. It's a kind of redux of the 90s where it's, where the BJP used to say, hum mandal bhi represent karte hai, kamandal bhi. But clearly the attempt right now here is to use the politics of social justice to take on the BJP, which is why it's very interesting Haryana, where Haryana is in BJP is trying to actually look at the non-Jat OBC vote, and it's quite interesting in terms of caste dynamics. But my larger question is, could Rahul Gandhi's emphasis on caste, where he's now also talking about beauty pageants and private sector, and you have other Dalit leaders now beginning to talk about private sector reservation. Sometimes these kind of movements can also create counter consolidation. Sometimes these kind of movements can also create a backlash. Is there an inherent risk in him making social justice his central plank?
Of course there is. The basic problem is that the Congress has not been a great, vocal supporter of any kind of, positive discrimination on the basis of caste lines, either in the case of OBCs or various other things. So, to use a very hackneyed and a very politically wrong, phrase, but that's the first thing which comes to my mind, despite hurting the sentiments of few. I will say, it is said that Naya Mulla Jor se azan deta hai. So is he giving a greater, louder clarion call than what is being, what is really required? I have my doubts about it. I would possibly once more sit and have a brainstorming session within the party, which I'm not very sure if Rahul Gandhi has done so.
Yeah. So, let's just end. We put up a question on our platform. Will the results of the Haryana election, impact the brand of the Prime Minister? Will a possible defeat? And now, of course, no poll is free from the bias of those participating in it. We don't have any idea of how many BJP, we can't break this down into how many were BJP voters, how many are Congress voters. But a 76% 50% do believe that a defeat in the upcoming Haryana elections will weaken brand Modi, right? That is the poll result that we have. An overwhelming number. I wish there was a way to
Yes.
break this down by party affiliation. Now, Nilanjan, as we close, your thoughts, what if you've written a whole book on Mr. Modi? What do you think Modi is thinking at this time? What do you think the Prime Minister is thinking about?
I see a certain amount of fatigue in him. When he was giving that little clip you played out, he's
Yeah.
referring to father and son. He uses the word Bapu. Bapu or Beta. You
Yeah.
don't use Bapu. Mr. Modi of 10 years back wouldn't have referred to Bapu as anybody else but only one Bapu, that is Gandhiji. These
Yeah.
are the small slips which are beginning to see. If you actually put Mr. Modi under the glare of a microscope, I am sure that we will begin to find numerous these small mistakes which he's making, which clearly point towards the fact a static and a fatigued Mr. Modi. He
It's
has
very
to
interesting.
be back,
He has to.
get more energy into his campaigns back.
Okay, we will be watching what happens in Haryana unfold very closely. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, it's always a pleasure talking to you, and we'll have you back after the result or on the day of the result, we hope, and talk further to you. Thank you so much for talking to us, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.